morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Morning Heart Devotion. To start off, let's offer a greeting about our heavenly parents and true parents. 천지인 장부모님께 경배. 바로. And now to lead us through the family pledge, I'd like to invite up Reverend Milhan Stevens.
가정맹세 1. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조의 상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조의 상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 장부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천혜의급 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 천혜의급 시대를 맞이하여 절대 신앙, 절대 사랑, 절대 복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상 천국과 천상 천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you, Reverend Milhan Stevens. And now to open us up in prayer, I'd like to call on Pastor Barbara Robertson.
Morning. Let us pray. O most loving Heavenly Parent, we come before you this morning to hear your words, to feel your heart, to let those words resonate as truth through our bodies and our minds and our spirits, to be together as a family in community, that through the give and take of these words and our hearts, we can multiply good things, Lord. Your kingdom of heaven can come into existence through the multiplication of goodness, Lord. We just really want to pray for our true mother this morning who has been through so much in order to advance your providence here in the world. And we just pray that you protect her with your holy healing light, that you surround her with your holy healing angels, and that you watch her comings and goings. As I pray that you watch the comings and goings of all our brothers and sisters gathered here, especially our leaders, Dr. Chung-Sik Yong, President Naokimi, Bezfred, and all our leaders. May you watch over them, Lord. May you keep them safe. May you lift the burdens from their heart and the things that weigh heavy on their mind, that they might lean into you and that they might find peace and strength and courage in your love and your guidance. Please guide us this morning. I offer this prayer in the name of the Robertson Blessed Central family and all the brothers and sisters gathered here, owners of Changyabuk. Amen and Aju.
아주 바바라 로버트son, thank you so much. I think you need to get more strength and power. You look so tired. Thank you very much, 바바라, for your beautiful prayer. 감사합니다.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Barbara, for offering such a beautiful prayer. You're not alone in feeling tired. All right, everyone, we're going to go into our gratitude sections now. So just take this moment to maybe turn your tiredness into a smile and think about what you're grateful for and share with whoever you're paired up in a breakout with. We'll see you all in 7 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful sharing in your breakout. I was with Yukihiro-san and Mrs. Kuntz. Mrs. Kuntz was still sharing, so I'd like to call her to unmute and share with us her gratitude points this morning.
Okay. So, like I said before, I think I'm longing for morning devotion every single day. Even I work sometimes 8-hour days, and I'm almost turning 65 years old. I'm not a young chick anymore, like they say. But the morning devotion brought kind of resurrection to my spirit, and I be able, like Dr. Yong says, to build a relationship with my neighbors. Yesterday, I was so touched. One of my neighbors saw I fell down at work. I tripped on something and fell down. And he came to my house, brought some cream and rubbed my legs. And he said, "Are you okay? You need to rest a lot. You need to take care of your health." I felt like this kind of people, I touch their hearts in a way that they are willing to do anything for me. And all these things happen after the morning devotion. So I'm really grateful, and I encourage everybody to attend morning devotion live, because it's always a pleasure to share your gratitude with brothers and sisters, because everybody is grateful for different things. And special, I feel that's been a change in our family, even in our daughters also, because of morning devotion. So I'm really grateful to Dr. Young and all the team who prepare morning devotion with so much love, so much concern for all of us to have a possibility to resurrect and have new hope. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Ronald Kunse. And you are a woman of longing heart. At the same time, you are a woman of gratitude. Wow. Longing heart definitely multiply. Definitely longing heart multiply another longing heart. This is incredible attributes of longing heart. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kunse. 감사합니다.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us, Evelina. Yeah. All right, next, I'd like to call on Milhan to share with us his gratitude points this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh,
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate Dr. Yong and President Aokimi for not giving up on me to understand the heart behind fishing, because there's no chance it would happen by accident. Yeah, I went out on the boat with President Aokimi and Rest Fred and some others the first time. Oh, I guess, yeah. And then the second time, Dr. Yong wanted us to go out again, and I really didn't want to, but I thought I'd have to figure out, why, God, do you love fishing so much? Because I don't. It's just I get so seasick, and I don't understand. We're just sitting there for hours and hours. But so plus I never caught a striped bass, which is the prize fish for the contest. And so we're on this time. Dr. Yong has a dream that everyone catches a striped bass. So I'm like, okay. And at some point, everyone else on the boat had caught a striped bass except for me. I'm always catching these skates, which are like the ugliest fish in the world, and but not a striped bass. Until I decided that I was the problem. And basically what I got from all this was how to access God's heart anytime, which is, I guess, you can only learn on a boat. But so I decided to do my 5% and find, what am I doing wrong, or what can I do differently? And so I decided to, instead of putting the fishing pole in the holster, I decided to hold on to it and keep it taut so I can feel the tension and the vibrations of the line and the rod in my hands. And then I could start to feel actually some of the movements, or something touching the bait, but they're not biting, right? So I decided to make the bait a little more attractive, bouncing it along gently, and I could feel more. And then I got my first fish. I got my first striped bass. And I was like so happy. And then I caught another one, and then another one. So by the end, I had caught the most fish on the boat, in fact. And I just felt this lesson that God teaching me that you can actually force your destiny if you do your 5% and you work on yourself and you're sensitive to God's 95%. Because what I love about fishing is that you cannot control the fish, right? But you can control yourself and what you can do to make it the best chance that fish can catch. I mean, one of these fish, Dr. Yong, I caught it by the gill. It wasn't even in the mouth. I got it by the gill. I was taking these fish out of the water. So if you ever want to know how to learn fishing, just talk to me. I'll tell you how it goes. But thank you, Dr. Yong.
Wow, thank you so much. Wow, Miran, you had an incredible experience. That's why obey, unite together, bring good result. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Milhan, for sharing. I know it wasn't an easy day for in the beginning, but with a lot of people getting seasick and getting fish, I think God just wanted to make us happy too. So thank you. All right, now we're going to go on to our main message for today. Let us open our hearts and prepare our minds to receive our heavenly inspiration to Dr. Chun-Sik Yong.
안녕하세요. Good morning. Good morning. My dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? Yeah, I think just meet and sharing is a really beautiful experience. And I'm also very excited to hear our CIG missionaries today's report. So let's see how are they going to report. And on Sunday night, we had the graduation celebration for the very first Accelerate Leadership Certification course. Accelerate is a leadership training program for the entire leadership of North America to train them in the core practical skills necessary to be a leader. Over 180 leaders registered for this course in February this year, and Sunday night, we celebrate the graduation of those who completed it. Yeah, over the span of 16 weeks, we had 13 incredible presentations by expert teachers from around the country to teach our current and future leaders relevant education to grow themselves and be effective in their ministry. Here are the 10 instructors of the Accelerate Leadership course. It was a great mix of first and second generation leadership. Now, Kimi gave beautiful opening remarks, and then we heard really inspiring testimonies from representatives from each sub-region and Canada. I gave a congratulatory remarks, and each sub-regional leaders, including Canadian leaders, Dr. Franco Famellaro, shared brief acknowledgement for their members. We had 130 people graduate this time, and many more who are still finishing their work so they can graduate. Accelerate will happen every year, so I encourage everyone to register for this incredible program. Once again, congratulations to the Accelerate graduation class of 2022. Thank you very much again. Today, I'd like to talk about our attitude as we reach Foundation Day from True Mother's Anthology Book 1. So let's start.
Foundation Day is the day God's dream is realized. I have opened all the doors through Foundation Day. I have opened the doors wide for anyone who resolves to be filial, loyal, and faithful, and to put his or her beliefs into action. We must practice absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience until our last moment on earth, centered on true parents. If we make such a resolution and carry it out, we will not need to pay indemnity in the future. We need to prepare for the era of Chanukuk that is free from indemnity. That will come when we fulfill our responsibility. No one else can do it for us. It is up to us to fulfill it. That is why, as I have said, it is important for us to fulfill our responsibilities now. Then, when the ideal world comes, we will not have to deal with finishing up our unfinished task. Thank you. I hope and pray that your devotions will bring glory to heaven and joy to earth, and that in the eternal era of Chanukuk, you will all become beloved and acknowledged citizens of Chanukuk. Let us once again resolve to do our best to accelerate the work of guiding all 7 billion people of the world to become citizens of Chanukuk under our heavenly parent. Only if you have achieved this will you be free when you pass on into the next world, and will you live in a world that is free from accusation. If you are unable to fulfill your responsibility on earth, accusation will follow you to the eternal world. In that event, you will have trouble breathing in the spirit world, where breathing takes place through your heart of love. It does not matter if you are no longer young. You need to fulfill your responsibility while you still have your physical body on the earth, so that you can stand free before true parents in the eternal world and be authentically proud of yourself.
True Mother said we need to prepare for the era of the Chanilguk that is free from indemnity. That will come when we fulfill our portion of responsibility. No one else can do it for us. It is up to us to fulfill it. True Mother said that if we follow the victorious true parents with absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience to our responsibility of heavenly tribal messiahship, we will enter the era of the Chonilgu, where there is no indemnity. Now is the time to emphasize the word responsibility rather than indemnity. Before the true parents declaring the foundation day, we have very much emphasized the importance of the indemnity. But after True Mother establishing the Chonilgu, era of the Chonilgu, now is the time to emphasize the word responsibility rather than indemnity. This means that we have entered the original era and are now able to do our portion of responsibility. True Mother continued, I hope and pray that your devotion will bring glory to heaven and joy to earth, and that in the eternal era of the Chonilgu, you will all become beloved and acknowledged citizen of the Chonilgu. If you are unable to fulfill your portion of responsibility on earth, accusation will follow you to the eternal world. So let's all start by establishing 3 spiritual children and do your best so that everyone can fulfill the heavenly tribal Messiah mission. So living divine principle, the indirect dominion, and the human portion of the responsibility. Let's study EDP.
Reason for human responsibility. God endowed human beings with a portion of responsibility for the following reason. By fulfilling their given portion of responsibility, with which even God does not interfere, human beings are meant to inherit the creative nature of God and participate in God's great work of creation. God intends human beings to earn ownership and become worthy to rule over the creation as creators in their own right, just as God governs over them as their creator. This is the principal difference between human beings and the rest of creation.
Father's word.
The position to complete the portion of responsibility. If you inherit the right as holy creators through completing the portion of responsibility, you will receive true love. You should understand that you have the right to inherit a true love that is stronger than anything else. With this true love, you can do anything. You can even love your enemy. You should be aware of this. The power of true love is not in fighting or in force, but in natural surrender, which means that nothing is stronger than this. There is no ideal standard that goes beyond this, no standard of peace that surpasses this.
Yes. What is the purpose of the human portion of responsibility? It is to become the true owner of all things. What must we do to become a true owner? To become a true owner, you have to inherit true love from God and true parents. Then, in what kind of a position can you inherit true love? It is a position where enemies can be digested and loved. If you possess true love that can love even your enemies, everything becomes possible, and there is nothing you cannot do. It is really beautiful guidance. Jesus and true parents were able to become the parents of all people because they possessed the true love that could forgive even Satan. The quality of the true love of Jesus, who loved even his enemies, was such that all humankind could receive the benefit of spiritual salvation. Ultimately, our task is how to love our enemies. If I do not love my enemies, I must pay indemnity. Very important, especially under God's indirect dominion, one of the great trial. And then our task is how to overcome our enemies. So Abel, you need to love Cain. You need to overcome your enemies. You need to overcome your opponents. If I do not love my enemies, you cannot fulfill your portion of responsibility under God's indirect dominion. That's why our main portion of responsibility is what? How to overcome my fallen nature. In order to overcome my fallen nature, you need to love your enemies. Without loving my enemies, you need to pay indemnity. Difficulties and many trials come as I continue on the path of faith. True love is to love even the unlovable. If I love my enemies, not only can I be freed from my sins, but I can overcome all my indemnity. Even you go to the spiritual world, you can freely enter and live any realm of the spiritual world. You can even witness those in the world of the hell. Therefore, we have to love not only those who we like, but also those who dislike. I must make the determination to love every single person. The purpose of enemy existing on my path of the faith is God's strategy to train me to be a true person with true love. Never avoid enemies. God give me enemy, ask me to overcome enemy. That means you can overcome your fallen nature. You can get rid of your fallen nature. That's why enemy is actually given by God as the really wonderful gift.
If you overcome enemy, wow, you can become champion of true love. So whatever happens, you have to digest it and overcome it. Heaven is the world where the word enemy does not exist. How can we become perfect being? There is no enemy. I can love everything. I can love anyone. And guarantee you are already become perfect being. Already you become man of true love. That's why actually do not avoid enemies. There are enemy means I need to get rid of my fallen nature. I need to become a round character. I need to become better person. I need to overcome my arrogance. Very important. Why enemy does exist? Ask you to overcome your fallen nature. Ask to overcome your self-center. Wow. It is incredible gift. Therefore, our greatest and most important responsibility is what? To love even our enemies. So we should think that I was born to love my enemies. If you love your enemies, your personality will be very smooth and round. Be a person you can give and receive with anyone and be welcomed. Next.
Inheriting true love. The portion of responsibility is needed absolutely in order to inherit true love. Do you understand? You need to know that action of love follows the portion of responsibility. You have to be responsible for it. When you love someone, you have to be responsible with eternity, unique and unchanging. Otherwise, how can we trust God who has such an ideal? Unlike us, God never changes.
Yeah. When an act of love comes eternal responsibility, we have to know that true love comes with eternal, unchanging, absolute, and unique responsibility. The great thing about God is that He is absolutely, eternally, and unchangingly responsible for His object partner under all circumstances. Not only that, it is to provide absolute unchanging protection and education for the object partner under any circumstances. 4 is a shifting of the responsibility to others. But the principle is to responsible for and protect and nurture others. Today's youth ministry, what position are we in when we receive the blessing? In order to graduate from indirect dominion and enter direct dominion, all human beings must pass through the gate of the blessing. Very important, my brothers and sisters. How to go into the God's direct dominion? You need to pass through the gate of the blessing. Then what position are we in when we receive the blessing? First, it is the position where you can remove your original sin and be born anew through the true parents. Completely remove our original sin. It is a position where God's direct dominion and indirect dominion meet. You know, that kind of about the meeting point. Your wedding night, it should be your biggest festival because you are entering God's direct dominion from God's indirect dominion. That is your first night. Through love relationship, through sexual relationship, you are now entering God's direct dominion from God's indirect dominion. Wow, amazing. With whom did you spend your wedding night? Your first night with whom? With whom? That other person. You know, that's why you need to keep purity. You need to offer your first night for your eternal spouse. It is a position where you can start your 4 great realms of heart and 3 great kingships. It is the position where the kingdom of heaven on earth begins, right? Until top of the growth stage, you can grow up individually, right? Individually. Adam have his course as the tree of the life, and Eve she has a course, as the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, individually growing until top of the growth stage, and from top of the growth stage, after you receiving the blessing, enter God's direct dominion. It means your small kingdom centering on your family begins. Very important. Individually, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Based upon pairs, based upon couples. So it is the position where you can inherit from God and the great work of creation and true love. Right? And also it is the position where you can start to have dominion over all things of creation. Anyone graduate top of the growth stage and receive the blessing, entering God's direct dominion, then means already God acknowledges you. You are the owner of all things. Lastly, it is a position where God's eternal blessings and happiness and freedom and peace and unity begin. Wow, that's why we are recently talking about God's indirect dominion and God's direct dominion. What does it different? God's direct dominion and indirect dominion. God's indirect dominion is the most important thing, is keeping purity. Do not eat. Do not eat. If you eat it, you will surely die. You keep absolute purity. That is the most important commandment, right? Under the God's indirect dominion. Until the fruit will become the mature, you cannot eat. Need to become mature, you need to wait. God have to wait. Adam have to wait. You need to have to wait until the fruit become mature. Immature fruit cannot bear fruit, cannot multiply. That's why you need to wait. God cannot do anything until become maturing. And then once you enter God's direct dominion through the blessing, through the marriage ceremony, and then what is the God's commandment? After you entering the God's direct dominion, please eat. Please eat. Please have the love relationship with your spouse. Under God's direct dominion, what's God's commandment? Do not eat. What's the under God's direct dominion? Please eat, enjoy. You are free. You are already all of the old things. You are all of the true love. This is the difference. Very important, right, my brothers and sisters? Today we learn very important thing about what's the difference between God's direct dominion and indirect dominion. Also, what position are we in when we receive the blessing? Blessing is so precious, very, very important. Understand, my brothers and sisters? Thank you very much. And then today, we are going to listen from our CIG missionary living beautiful testimony. When I hear their testimony, I had an incredible, really touching experience. So let's invite our Chonilgu missionary. Maybe this team, I think, experienced in what I know in Albania. So let's invite them. MC, please properly introduce them. 감사합니다.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Yong, for today's morning devotion, emphasizing the importance of loving our enemy and also describing what differentiates the blessing in its direct and indirect dominion with God. So thank you so much for that. And now we're going to go on to our CIG missionary report or testimony, you could say. Yesterday, you heard the general overview from the leaders of CIG missionary, how inspiring it is, what the vision is. But now we'll be hearing from those who are on the ground, just I believe this past year on GPA. So with that said, I'd like to invite up the CIG missionary team from Albania, Elbasan. Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Yong. Good morning to everyone who's watching Morning Devotion. We are your Elbasan team. My name is Mie Iwasaki. I am a third-year participant on GPA.
Hello, my name is Sunhwa Schlepper, and I'm also a third-year participant in GPA.
Good morning. My name is Tetsukuni Nakamura. I'm also a third-year CIG participant.
Morning, my name is Sergiva. I'm a second-year participant on GPA.
Morning, Dr. Young. My name is Akihiro Kudo. I'm a second-year participant on GPA.
Okay, so we are the team. We're the Elbasan team, and we actually were part of the first wave to be sent overseas to our mission country. And we for sure were not expecting it at all. Actually, it was just announced 10 days before we were sent out. And so we just had to jump right into it. And of course, even if we felt nervous, excited, unprepared, we just had to jump right in. And I believe this is definitely a part of being a missionary as well, to just go where and when God calls. So yes. So within 10 days, we were sent to a small city in Elbasan. And yes, we were sent to a small city in Elbasan, or in Albania. It is called Elbasan. Albania is a European country. And yes, Elbasan or Albania is known to be an incredibly friendly and kind, loving, hospitable people. And it's to this beautiful place and surrounded by these incredible people, such kind people, that we were sent and were able to do our mission for 4 months there. And the national leader of Albania are Maniola and Gabori. And the center leaders of Elbasan specifically are Yuli and Mariola. They've been the center leaders of Carp Elbasan ever since 2020. And on the very right, you'll see a picture of the first and second generation members. They're all very young members. And actually, there's only 2 second gens in Elbasan specifically. So before we arrived, actually, Elbasan was affected by COVID in 2020. And so a lot of their activities were online. Also, their witnessing activities became very limited due to that. Not only that, but there was actually a difficulty in motivating members to be more involved. And so once we arrived and we recognized that there weren't any core members or a core team that could work together with our center leaders, with Yuli and Mariola, we really felt that we wanted to do something about that. And so we were able to take some time to create a vision for, yes, of course, our team, but also a vision for Elbasan as a whole and our brothers and sisters there. So our team internal goal was to tune into True Parents' boundless heart of salvation. And tied to this goal was our strong desire to leave a legacy, to really leave a reflection of ourselves, an extension of ourselves, and ultimately True Parents' reflection there in Elbasan. Because we realized that once we were to leave, and it would just be Yuli and Mariola again. So we felt that we wanted to leave with them a core team that they could work together with to continue God's work there. And so there's the kind of part that we had when we went out witnessing every day. And so when it came to witnessing, it was actually quite simple. We would just bring guests to the center to receive all 16 lectures, all 16 of the Divine Principle lectures. And later, the guests would then move on to be more involved in other activities as members. These are just some of the pictures capturing moments of us lecturing to guests, going out witnessing, studying the divine principle. And honestly, lecturing and sharing the principle is an incredible story of its own, because we as second gens, honestly, we do take the principle for granted many times, especially because we grew up with it. However, being able to share with others and just seeing how they would be transformed really just puts into perspective how people are looking and searching for principle, how they are looking for truth. And I feel like they were also just looking for true parents. And now moving on, these are some of the activities and events that we had. Some of our more main activities were our weekly CARP meetings, which focused on giving divine principle-based character education to guests. And similar to that were our one-day character education workshops, which all talks were given by CIGs. We also had, we also supported National Divine Principle seminars as well. And we also held service projects with guests, fundraising with guests, and all other activities with guests. These activities, events, meetings, workshops that we held and supported really impacted, honestly, not just our lives, but impacted the lives of our guests. They were able to just go beyond themselves and just find the joy in serving and living for the sake of others and really doing something that was meaningful and impactful. So we really saw how, through them practicing what they learned through principle, they were restoring themselves. Like they were really becoming brighter, livelier, happier, and genuinely their true original selves. Yes. And here are some of the pictures of just, some of the fruits of all of our sincere investments. So I just want to highlight that 14 people received Second Advent during our time there. And we also want to share that we were able to give out 14 of Mother and Father's books to our guests. And we would hear testimonies from some of them, some of these guests who received the books, about how incredibly moved they were by the works of Father and Mother Moon. And they would share their deep respect and admiration for true parents. And even if they didn't know that they were the Messiah at the time. And actually, Sunhwa's spiritual daughter recently messaged her and shared how she was able to artistically and emotionally connect with Father and Mother for the first time. And here are just pictures of the 14 guests who received Second Advent and who finished all 16 lectures. And something that we as a team were really inspired by was hearing about how even after we left, some of these guests actually would continue to seek to understand principle on a deeper level, and they would seek to build their life of faith. They would seek to deepen their relationship with true parents and really becoming a better version of themselves for true parents. And we heard from them and our center leader how they've been attending Sunday service, how they've been going to various workshops and events, and how they even celebrated holy days together. And these are two pictures of our guests going to Sunday service and our guests going to celebrate holy days together. And we really felt that we were able to leave a legacy as true parents representatives. And honestly, I'm just really grateful. We're all really great. I'm grateful for this team because they went out on the front line every single day, no matter what, even if it rained or even when it was difficult, even when we may have felt overwhelmed or drained, still we continue to give and give. We continue to witness, to lecture and share principle and just testify to true parents because we knew that we went to Elbasan not to be served, but really to serve. Yes, and everyone here just really offered themselves to God and true parents completely, and their sincere investments really moved the hearts of our Elbasani brothers and sisters, but just as much as they moved our hearts. So yeah, we're really grateful for what we were able to experience, and we just want to share our own short testimonies. And I want to first pass it off to Sunhwa to share hers.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Dr. Yong. Good morning. I'm so grateful to be here sharing. I think there's definitely many highlights that we have. Yeah, definitely many highlights that I have. But I think my biggest takeaway from being overseas in Albania is recognizing my value as a daughter of God and as a fruit of two parents. So yeah, I think a turning point for me in my mission was actually this DP workshop that we had as Channelcook missionaries. It was halfway through our time in Albania. But during that workshop, we were able to hear True Parents course. And I think that was one of, maybe not the first times, but I really connected to True Parents and their, like what they sacrificed and did for us, and recognizing that, yeah, they did so much for our sake, and feeling truly grateful towards them. And actually during that workshop, it was in January. So my parents were celebrating their blessing anniversary. And I think that was the first time I truly felt grateful for them receiving the blessing, but also True Parents for giving it to them. And yeah, I felt that as a second gen, like I realized that as a second gen that I'm born with this mission to serve God. I was conceived with this, with this mission. And yeah, my mission is to first receive that love from my family, but also to share it to the world. And yeah, I could recognize that within each person, not just myself, but every person, God sees so much potential in them. And I personally want to work towards that potential, becoming this person that God desires for me. I also want to help others recognize that within themselves. And that's why I want to continue with my missionary efforts, whether it's in CARP or even joining young adult missionary with, CIG. I think that's something I'm really excited for in the future. Thank you. So I'll pass it on to Tetsu.
Yes, thank you, Sanwa, for that really beautiful testimony. I think one of the biggest highlights for me was actually the power of serving. Within the team, I was always the one behind the scenes doing tech work or serving tea, or just taking care of other people's guests while everyone else were lecturing. And so I was always just there behind. And I realized actually at the beginning, it was really hard for me to really approach and take care and love each and every person or the guests. And after just realizing that I had to really change myself, I made it a priority that I'm gonna serve. Like what Mia said, I'm not here to be served, but I'm here to serve. And so constantly just keeping that repetition going, not trying to close off my heart. I realized serving prepared my heart to really love and take care of others. And I saw the fruits of it after we left Albania too. But also through serving, the guests were able to open their hearts to me too. Some of them were curious, who's this guy? He's always behind the scenes doing things. But after approaching me, we would have a lot of deep talks right after, and it was really great.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Lisa, and I just wanted to quickly share about my experience with the Divine Principle and how I really grew conviction in Divine Principle. Before going into my mission time, I definitely struggled to understand Principle as a reality in my life, and I saw it as more of a conceptual thing. I actually didn't get too many opportunities to share it, especially with guests who are receiving it for the first time. But in my overseas time, I finally got the opportunity to share it with people who have never heard it before. And I started asking myself a lot, why am I here all the way from America sharing it with this person I just met for the first time? What is something that makes it so special? What is something that makes True Parents so adamant about sharing it, and other missionaries as well? And as I was thinking about this, I was starting to realize that I was asking myself, how do I see Principle working in my life? And how is it real? And why is it important? And through that experience, through asking these questions, I was able to really see that the principles within the Divine Principle, the concepts, for example, give and take action, it was something that's very real in my life, and something that I saw working actively in my life. And I really developed this conviction that principle is something that brings a lot of purpose and fulfillment for people, and that we really need to share it. And made me really excited to share principle with people in Albania, but also here in America. So I hope to continue my witnessing efforts back at home doing CARP. And yeah, thank you. I'm going to pass it off to Aki now.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my time in Albania, my mission was really a really beautiful, really amazing experience for me. I think my main takeaway I can really confidently say is that God is really like a loving and living God, actively working, and yeah, and that love is really like the core of everything. Yeah, sometimes during my missions I felt really like yeah, really doubting my own like abilities or feeling insecure in my position in the team, but yeah, really struggling to find like guests who can really invest and pour my heart into. But yeah, I really felt guided back to my original purpose as in principle, really like that. Yeah, I'm not here just to learn things or to understand things or yeah, just be better at lecturing principle or whatever it is, but really to expand my heart to embody and give God's love and truth to people and to lead others to Him. And yeah, so I really feel like, yeah, I could really believe that God is really actively working in everyone's life. And yeah, the principle really is true. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. How about the Mie? Mie, your personal testimony.
Yes. So I think one of my biggest takeaways definitely came from my relationship with my spiritual daughter. Her name is Elda Sumari. She's just a 17-year-old high school student. She's going to graduate this year, and I'm hoping that she can attend GPA this year too. But I met her within the first month that our team arrived in Elbasan, and I honestly experienced incredible joy in just watching her grow from being a girl who was looking for her purpose in life to being a fighter who's seeking to become the best version of herself for true parents. And honestly, because, as she said, she's grateful for true parents, but wants to be more grateful to true parents. And the kind of joy that I experienced through seeing her grow, seeing her go through this process is something I honestly never felt before. And I really came to feel like I want to give her everything in the world, and I want to give her the whole world to her and just be and have her be the happiest. And I realized, this kind of joy is actually something that God wants to experience in His relationship with His children. God wants to experience this kind of joy, this kind of love, and that this is the kind of joy that true parents, wishes to bring to God. And I realized that the reason why God and true parents are able to do what they do, even despite all the pain, suffering, and sorrow that they have to go through, the reason why they're able to sacrifice their whole selves is because the joy that is awaiting is so much greater and so overpowering, so much greater than any pain, any difficulty, any sorrow in the world. And I really felt like there is an incredible joy waiting for God and waiting for all of us to experience together and to go through together. And if God and true parents are able to, give their whole selves and sacrifice their whole selves for this kind of joy, for this kind of love, then I felt called, to really to fight and to serve and to give and sacrifice myself for this kind of joy too, for this kind of love too. I felt like Elder really taught me this. Yes.
Wow, so beautiful. I am really proud of all our CIG missionaries, our Mie-chan, Sunmi's younger sister, Iwasaki Shota's daughter, Sonhwa, Lisa, Hyuni, Tetsuku-ni. I love you so much.
We love you.
Great. Once again, I appreciate you. How much true parents and heavenly parents and proud of you. You such incredible experience and go to the overseas. You say that we came here, not to be served, to serve the people. This kind of serving heart for all mankind, for God and true parents. It is so beautiful. I love you all. I'm so inspired to hear your beautiful testimony. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you so much, CIG Albania. I know that most of you here are third years, right? So I heard that, I know that your first year, that was COVID, and second year still COVID, but I'm glad that your final year, you were able to have this incredible experience. I really feel like God is working. Thank you so much for sharing with us and inspiring us this morning. And now we're going to go on to our breakout sharing, our reflection sharing. So just take this moment to digest anything you gained from today's morning devotion, Dr. Yong's message, and the testimony we just heard. Share with whoever you're paired up with, and we'll be back here in 7 minutes to share with everyone else. We'll see you all soon. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful sharing. It's always nice seeing most cameras turned on after we come back. I mean, you can keep it on. I may not call you for prayer, but now I'd like to call on first off Yuko Alexander. Yuko Alexander to share with us her reflection from today's morning devotion. You're muted, Yuko-san. There you go. You're still muted.
Hi, good morning, Reverend Yong and everyone.
Yay, Yuko-san.
Hi. How are you this morning, everyone? I'm really happy to hear this morning how to receive the true love from two parents and two heavenly parents. From that, I can expand and how to love to the enemy, this cannot love person, and to what's that? Sorry, I'm so nervous. Sorry. Here I understood more true love, heavenly parents, and two parents. We can do more love the other person. Well, today's live testimony is possible. That is amazing, you know. I had a testimony in 1975 who is attending the Pioneer 1800 couple. That's really difficult time. They could not even go through, but this time telling the testimony, that is amazing how they're able to do that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I'm really surprised they really go process as they asked to do, and then 4 months they did for just serving, purpose for serving the other people. That is amazing. I really appreciate, and they did. That's my takeaway today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yuko, Alexander.
Yes.
For your sharing. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Yuko-san, for sharing with us this morning. Next, I'd like to call on Justine Cheritik, Justine, to share with us her reflection from today's morning devotion.
Wow, that was unexpected. Wow. Well, I was in the room with Milhan, and when I see young people, second generation, like Milhan, there is so much hope, as I said. And also these missionaries, young second generation, I said that no matter how rich that this world is, when God sees young people like them, their hearts, their dedication, their understanding at this young age, and it's just mind blowing. And I can imagine God where He is and seeing them how happy, and He pinches Himself to know that in this quagmire of world there is a light, a bright light of young people like them who truly understand His heart and understand God's heart, the true parents, the divine principle, who are so pure and dedicated. Even though I said whenever I hear such a testimony as a mother, and knowing how where my kids are, it's also a judgment for me as a mother. But still, I feel so much joy. And also what Mia shared, the joy she feels for having a spiritual daughter, witnessing. I said that it's a joy that you cannot experience from anything else. It reminded me of that long time ages ago, going witnessing and having a spiritual child, and knowing that this person, you brought her having a life because of you. That joy never leaves you. And whenever I think of going witnessing, that's really the joy I remember that carries me and wanting me to go back to witness. It's an indescribable joy, and I can relate it to what she feels. So that's what I shared in my group. Thank you.
감사합니다, Justin. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much, Justin, for your sharing. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aunt Justine, for sharing with us your beautiful, inspiring reflection today. All right, now we're going to go on to our announcements. If you're feeling inspired, morning devotion is available every time to be shared. Just go to edu.familyfed.org. That's where everything morning devotion is housed, as well as a Zoom link to join on this live Zoom room. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube as well, you can donate by clicking the link in the description. If you are in this Zoom room, you can donate by clicking the link that Tal will put in the chat right now. And also, as a note, if you'd like to offer a prayer or a song, please let us know. We are looking for people to do so. It's just a little bit of how you can be a part of the co-creation of morning devotion. So please join us and be a part of this. And also, today is my final day as MC. So it's been 10 days. I technically only did 9, but tomorrow you'll be seeing the one with the really big smile, Yasu. Yasu will be back here to MC for the next morning devotion rotation. And with that, we're going to go on to our musical offering. Yeah, you've heard him sing many times, sometimes with a daughter, but this time I believe alone, and with a special announcement at the end. I'd like to invite up from, I believe, New Jersey, technically lives in New Jersey, Christopher Bush. Christopher Bush.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Yong.
Yeah, Christopher Bush. Yeah.
Yes. Well, a couple of things before my recording is played. The song's artist was on a spiritual search at the time he wrote the song, and he could have become a unificationist. However, he chose the path of Islam. Also, the word shadow appears a lot in this song, not as something to avoid, like our high noon focus, but imagine if you were God's shadow or true parent's actual shadow. That would mean that as long as the light is shining, let's call it the light of Jungsong, then you're doing exactly what God and true parents are doing, which means they're doing it through you. So we can all strive to become the title of the song, which so you can go ahead and play. Good morning, everybody. This is a song by Yusuf Islam, originally known as Cat Stevens. And it came out not long after he met Oni Durst, and it expresses the importance of gratitude and faithfulness no matter what. It's called Moon Shadow. Please enjoy. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my hands, lose my plow, lose my land, oh, if I ever lose my hands, oh, if I won't have to work no more. And if I ever lose my eyes, if my colors all run dry, yes, if I ever lose my eyes, oh, if I won't have to cry no more. I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my legs, I won't moan and I won't beg. Oh, if I ever lose my eggs, oh, if I won't have to walk no more. And if I ever lose my mouth, all my teeth, north and south, oh, if I ever lose my mouth, oh, if I won't have to talk. the fateful light? How did it take long to find me? And are you gonna stay the night? I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. I'm leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. Moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow.
Wow, wow, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Your singing always very joyful and cheering. Wow, thank you so much, Christopher Heavenly Bush, not George Bush, Heavenly Bush. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Just real quick, there's a link in the chat you can click on if you'd like to hear some of your favorite morning heart devotion performers live and in person this summer at Camp Shahakwa, as well as you can a chance to recharge your batteries and have fun in nature with your family. So bring your family.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher.
Yeah, thank you for offering just a beautiful song. Very livening. I love it. And also, yeah, Camp Shahakwa, it's summertime. So if you're looking for a place to take your kids or yourself to have a little fun, I believe, weekend retreat, go ahead and click that link. And now to close off in prayer, I'd like to call, I guess, our lawyer for morning devotion now, Bill Lay. Bill Lay.
Thank you, Resfred and everyone. Let us pray together. Dear Heavenly Parent, it is the morning of June 7th here in New York, and thank you that we could come together to study the sacred word, words of our true parents, and we could contemplate their deeper meaning. Father said, love your enemy, and he truly did love his enemies. We don't even know all the secrets of Father's heart. We learn them little by little. Let us consider, do I have an enemy? Who is that enemy? How can I love them right now? What can I do for them today? And also, what a wonderful testimony we heard from our missionary group to Albania. That country suffered a lot. It suffered under communism. It suffered under tyranny. And here come our CIG missionaries to share God's love and truth. This is just wonderful, a wonderful process. I pray at this time for each one of their spiritual children who were mentioned, that they can be having good experiences as they continue to study divine principle, and everybody that they touched, even if it was just one little lecture or something, something will work in their mind. Maybe Cat Stevens Youssef is still contemplating his encounter with our true parents. He chose the path of Islam, but he has really helped a lot of people. And we are going to merge together in service to our heavenly parents and our true parents. So thank you. Let's have a great day today. Thank you. We offer this prayer together, and I pray in the name of Bill and Tycho Lay, a blessed Central family. Aju.
Aju, thank you, our heavenly lawyer, Bill Lay. 감사합니다. Thank you.
Such a beautiful prayer. And that about wraps up today's morning devotion, day 590. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all bright and early tomorrow at 6. Bye, everyone.
Have a nice day.